see the news reporter that was interviewing a guy in Portland, a fan, a Trailblazers fan, if you get my drift there?
Woo! Trailblazers.
And
Blazing Trails.
And right before, they were down 3-0. Golden State's playing Portland Trailblazers, Western Conference Finals. Golden State ends up winning it in overtime, 119-117.
The game 4?
Yeah, game 4.
Yeah.
But before the game, this reporter's interviewing this Trailblazers fan outside the stadium. And the Trailblazers fan's talking about how the Portland Trailblazers are going to win the conference finals, and everything.
They're coming back.
So the reporter responds, literally stops interviewing the guy, turns to the camera and goes, and says, quote, "Cannabis is plentiful here in Portland."
Nice. Nice.
I hope that guy gets a raise. Get him promoted immediately to network at that point.
Did you see the RV chase last night?
I saw your highlights of it.
The highlights, yeah.
On
had to dig deep.
And on Snapchat, by the way, which you can reach Jason at
Jason Carter 03.
That's a shameless plug. And I'm SMAC500 on all 3 platforms.
Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat.
Yes. I saw your highlights of it, and I woke up this morning. I crashed early last night. I was asleep by 8:30 if I'm lucky. That cheerleading thing and everything else just wore me out. But I saw your highlights of it, and then I woke up this morning, and everybody was going crazy about it. I mean, it looked pretty awesome.
Yeah, I caught the tail end of it. Actually, I caught it when it
looked
was
awesome,
over.
except for him taking out innocent people.
Right. I mean, so I guess the black car, the second car, second highlight that you saw, that guy got like 6 broken ribs, punctured lung.
Oh, yeah. That was the guy that got T-boned, right? That was that guy?
It was a guy that had like his engine halfway hanging out. The other guy, the other 2, the ones like at the end they were laying down. I guess there was 2 people in that car. The one guy like got out and he was just like, "I'm fucking dying."
And then they were the guys that got hit in the intersection. They were just driving.
Yeah, the intersection people are the ones that are like screwed. But the white car, they're pretty hurt too. They didn't really say what the severity of their injuries
took out
were.
the front of it, but then he ran into a tree. But it's like, man, why was that guy swerving into that driveway, man? Like,
I think he was like, "Oh, let me get out of the way here." And then
what? I'm always fascinated by this. I didn't see. What was he running for?
it was a girl.
Really?
She was drunk in a stolen RV apparently. So I don't know why she.
Was it one of those where she thought she was at her house? She was on the couch thinking she was.
She got the wrong mobile home. Well, she had her dogs with her. Did you see the one dog like jump out?
Well, half that RV was missing, so why wouldn't you jump out?
The one dog going down the highway, like going down the road, like, "I'm just going to jump out here.
Yeah.
You're crazy, bitch." And
Is she crazy?
and that dog like landed on its side, like on the road, like, "Oh crap, we just saw a dog die." And then he like got up walking away, like, "Arr, arr, arr," like whatever. Then the other dog like stood by that girl's side, like, that's a loyal fucking loyal pup.
I thought they changed their policy a long time ago to not show those live for multiple reasons, but one of them being they don't want to show somebody dying.
Yeah, I don't know.
But the other reason is you don't want to glorify it because then other people are like, "Yeah, let's go do it."
But Facebook Live is a great thing because it always.
Yeah, but it was a news channel's helicopter that was following.
Yeah, it's always a Sky 7 that always has that stuff out in LA.
Yeah, LA 7 or whatever it is.
But I see all those things on I always get excited when I'm on Facebook. Tim Alwyn, who does photography, a lot of World of Outlaw races, he always posts stuff like that. Like,
no, it was.
"Hey, there's a car chase." Like I don't know if he like just has like car chase alert or whatever. He just like,
saw it.
"There's a car chase going." Like he was at the race last night.
I don't have them in front of me, but I saw a couple people that like equated it to like this is more exciting than the Game of Thrones finale.
Ooh.
Stuff like that. So, speaking of which,
yeah,
since
it's over.
Since you trolled everybody,
It's over.
before I watched
I
it,
didn't
which
troll.
pissed me off.
I didn't even tell you what happened.
No, but still,
I just said you got trolled. Did you watch it? Mm-hmm. How'd you feel?
I was fine with it. I was fine with the whole season.
With everything?
Okay, everybody, get ready for your angry at Steve time.
It's Wednesday. Well, hang on. There is an actor who was very upset about this.
Yes, and there was also an NFL quarterback that was very upset about it too.
Well, that's the actor I'm alluding to. Did you want to hear?
Oh, you were going actor, and I was.
I mean, he was a Game of Thrones actor. He was a Game of Thrones actor. He was in the series. I mean, he probably should have. He's probably upset he didn't take the.
He didn't get the throne.
Yeah, he wanted the throne. I mean, how are you going to give the throne to a guy who's already on a throne?
He had the best odds in Vegas going into it.
I told you he did. And you're like, nah,
I was like, there's no conceivable way he'll get it.
there's no way. They knew.
So without getting into like huge details and breaking it down, because that would be like the whole podcast.
Right?
Because I've been doing it on Facebook the last couple of days, and I'm just like, you know what, screw it. The cool thing to do right now is to just bash Game of Thrones and ending, and so everybody's just gonna hop onto it, which drives me nuts. And then you read it like you know, it's like I only saw the last 5 episodes, and I'm like,
at least I give you a disclaimer, like, hey, I'm not a big Game of Thrones fan, but
don't even like talk about it.
But I don't get the hype. I'm not gonna go back and rewatch the first 7 seasons. Or at least I give you the disclaimer.
So I'll say 2 things about it, or maybe more. We'll see how angry I get. So first of all, it's just cool to like hate Game of Thrones right now. People don't sit back. Second of all, why does everybody after 7 seasons of a show think that they can write a better ending than the people that actually got employed to do it the whole time, right? It's not like these guys just walked in off the street for season 8 and they were like, hey, they followed George R.R. Martin's storyline. This is how his books are going to end. He told them how the books were going to end. It's not like they just walked in and were like, hey, let's screw everything up here. They did everything that they've done. So through 7 seasons, everybody's like, this is the greatest show on the planet.
Do you think he rewrites the books now? He's like, oh man, that was a horrible ending. Yeah, let me rewrite that.
Yeah, right. He's taking things on it. The thing that he'll do differently than the show did, because he'll have the ability, is because his books are like 2,000 billion pages long, is he'll go into more detail, which is actually, I agree with, was missing in the final. But they couldn't go into that big character. You know, first of all, people that say character development disappeared, how much more character development do we need after 7 freaking seasons? Dany's the daughter of the Mad King. She has shown throughout the series that she freaking goes nuts on people and kills people for no reason, constantly throughout the series. It was always clear she was going to go crazy. If you guys missed that, you guys were not fans. You guys did not watch the show. Second of all, it was always clear that Jon Snow does what? He refuses to be a leader, and he always takes the back seat. And then he, at the end, when he has to step up, he finally steps up. Probably too late, but he at least steps up at the end. And what did Jon Snow do? He refused to be king, which he was rightfully allowed to be. He refused to be the leader that everybody wanted him to be. And then he had to step up at the end because bitch was crazy. So I don't know what people are talking about that the characters didn't go. Jaime Lannister's character development, he was a spineless weasel who did everything his sister wanted and was an evil person. He went through all this self-development to find everything, and then what happens at the end? Just like every guy does, by the way, in the world. That he gets booted out and kicked out of the house by, well, it has to be a sister, but let's say girlfriend, and gets kicked out of the house, has to go find someplace else to go or whatever, goes and does what he has to do, and then something happens in life where he like reaches out to him at midnight for that last minute booty call, and he has to go save her and everything because they're family and whatnot. There's no surprises. What would have been a surprise is if Jon Snow took the throne. What would have been a surprise is if Dany didn't go crazy nuts when you go mad. What would have been a surprise is if Jaime Lannister would have been like, kill Cersei, nobody cares. That would have been the surprises in the show. People watch it, like pay attention to it, people. Like, and then my favorite part is everybody on the planet's like, I would have written a better show. I would have written that way better. Really? Then why haven't you? Why don't you have a show on HBO or any show on the planet? Why do you not have books out right now? Tell me, everybody. Let's go. Let's hear it. I want to hear
everybody.
I want to hear the reasons why you're such a genius out there, and you could have written a bit of Aaron Rodgers. I call it Aaron Rodgers. I'll call it my neighbor down the street.
He was an actor.
Thousands of people on Twitter. Tell me why you haven't written a better story then. If you can do it.
They're probably just mad that it's over, right?
But sorry.
Sorry, caught you in the middle of a
thank you.
Cherry.
I should have done that when I'm mad. I spilled it over me. Sorry, I'm enjoying cherries right now, everybody. Well, then my other point is that TV is a long history of people hating the finale. Oh my God. Sopranos, which I never watched an episode
That's
of.
one that just cut the black, right?
Yeah.
Like
I've never watched an episode of The Sopranos. I've never seen 5 seconds of The Sopranos. I've never seen anything about The Sopranos. But remember the uproar in the world about The Sopranos ending? Like, I didn't care. I didn't have any point. I never saw it. I never watched it. And I was like, oh my God, people are losing their crap on
My
this
dad used to love that show. Then he kind of got out of it.
So, same thing, Seinfeld. Great show. Everybody loved everything about it. Final episode, everybody's like, worst show ever. I actually know a guy that will not
How did it end? I don't even remember how Seinfeld
they went
ended.
to that town, and they went to that town, and they were making fun of that person, like getting robbed or something, and then they got arrested for like being mean to people or whatever.
I have to rewatch
and then
it.
they brought all these old characters back, and then they went to jail at the end because they were convicted of it. Like, I mean, it was a great finale in terms of they brought all the old characters back and
Right.
everything, but you know, people didn't like it. So the uproar was huge about how the world is full. The TV landscape is full of people hating finales. So this is nothing.
Yeah, finales suck. Like regardless, right?
Well, there's multiple reasons why. Like you said it, you're sad it's ending. You know, you've been invested in these. I mean, you were partially right on that 8-year thing. I mean, we're invested in these characters.
Right.
Like I saw an actual study where, like, when Varys died, the bald guy, when he got to anything, like he disappeared for 2 seasons there, and there's actually a study where people didn't realize that he was gone for 2 seasons because what people did with that Game of Thrones show, which made it so great, was that even if their character wasn't on screen, it's like they made up what they were doing. You know, so like
Right.
when Jamie Lannister was like in prison and disappears or whatever, you know, people actually made up what he was doing when he got caught or whatever in their own minds. And that's what led to the dysfunction of this last season is everybody has like, there's Team Danny out there that's like, she should have ruled, like he shouldn't have killed her.
Right.
There was no point in time where Danny was ruling it. If you watched the show at all and paid attention, she was going to turn mad at all times. Like you were hoping she wouldn't, but she was going to. And then you got the Team Jon Snow that's, you know, he's got to rule. He's the one heir. You know, he's got to rule. Blah blah blah. You know, and everything. So they're mad he didn't get it.
I just realized that he is the guy behind the memes of prepare yourself. I never realized that was him until the other night. I was like, oh, he's the prepare yourself guy.
Yes.
So then there was all the prepare yourself for all the hate we're about to receive.
Yes, right. But I mean, it just drives me absolutely like nuts how people just can't sit back and like enjoy. Like, I agree it was rushed, but they had to rush it. HBO said you have 6 episodes, and we're going to let you go in half an hour longer on all of them to literally wrap up an 8-year storyline. You know, and there's 2 big battles that have to happen. You know,
Well, I told you last week I wasn't going to be impressed with this episode if it was one of those here's what happens now. Which I guess you had to like kind of culminate like that. But
did you see my?
I liked the battles. I thought the battles were cool.
Did you see my retweet of that guy? I put it on Facebook too of the guy that redid the ending, kind of like Breakfast Club, where it was like Sansa, whatever.
Right.
It's like Wolf went on. Wolf was a good dog. I got lots of pats. Like, that was pretty funny.
I saw Scooter McDougar did a thing. I didn't watch it yet
I
though.
didn't see that
So I got to watch his Game of Thrones
Yeah.
reaction ending because he's usually pretty good.
Like, I just
Pretty good
don't.
follow there.
It just drives me nuts how like people, and I get it because they get all invested, and then they're like, you know, you get invested in characters.
The Home Improvement finale sucked.
Well, right there, that's my point.
That one sucked. Did you watch the Home Improvement finale? I just love that show.
I guess the consensus.
It
and
sucked.
I was too young to watch it, and I always hated this show, MASH. But I guess that was like
Yeah.
the best, considered the best finale of all time. You know, I guess the Cosby Show one was ranked up there pretty high in satisfaction of people when the Cosby
The
Show
first one or
ended.
second one? Because didn't they come back with the Cosby
I had
Show?
no
after
idea.
that?
I never watched them. You know.
Friends was decent.
I don't remember how Friends ended. How did Friends end?
They all just kind of moved. Well, actually, they didn't move because Ross and Rachel they still lived, but they moved out of like that house. And
Well,
all,
they
like,
moved out.
Put
yeah.
their keys because like Chandler and Monica, you know,
Yeah,
they got the
moved out to
baby,
the
and then they moved out to the
countryside,
countryside.
all
Yeah.
But I mean, the whole point. Well, that's the thing is like.
How I Met Your Mother. They killed off the mother, which was kind of weird. And Ted and
But that was a huge letdown when they finally like said who the mom was, though. Like everybody was like, "Oh,
yeah. Like once you met the mom, you're like, oh, okay, she's the mom. And then it's like, all right, and guess what? Don't get emotionally attached to the mom because we're going to kill her. But it's
Well-
like we've been emotionally attached to the mom for the last 8 years because you're telling us a story about the mom.
But that's the point. Like, if anything, they should have introduced the mom and then just ended the show.
That's what I thought they were
Right.
going to do. I was like, just show me the mom
Yeah.
and then kill her. But no, you knew the whole last season who the
we
mom
don't
was.
have to kill her, but just end the series.
Yeah.
You know? But no, that's my point. Is like, I mean, I remember the Friends were now, and I mean that was just a culmination of, all right, what do you do with these characters? They just move on with their lives, you know, and they, you know, they all go different directions finally because everything. But there wasn't a huge uproar about it. But,
No.
But yeah, I mean, it's just a history of that.
I think the
And-
bigger problem with Friends is how come we don't have a reunion yet? Everybody wants the reunion episodes.
except for the people, you know why? Money.
Money, 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 money.
Yeah, so finally Game of Thrones is over. I can get my Sunday nights back, Monday mornings back, and my Sunday nights on social media and everything.
What will you do now?
Probably what I did before this season of Game of Thrones started. Whatever.
Try to take over the world.
The only reason I hated it the most was I had to watch it by Monday morning.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
it's
because those
like-
spoilers.
I mean, I unfriended 4 people because of stuff like that.
I mean, it's Wednesday, and I still, feel like we could get crap on if somebody's listening to this because I'm going to label it the one about Game of Thrones.
Well, you
and
know what?
somebody's
If you
gonna-
label it the one about Game of Thrones, if you label it that, and it's Wednesday afterwards, and they haven't seen it yet, that's on them.
Yeah, they probably just don't have HBO, dude. So Netflix, you big Netflixer? You do anything on
Not
Netflix
big,
lately?
but I watch it. I watched that Kevin Costner, Woody Harrelson,
So
Bonnie and Clyde movie a couple weeks ago.
I binge watched this show. Me and Samantha did last week called Jailbirds. It is a reality TV show about a downtown Sacramento prison. It's pretty good, pretty funny. The culmination of everything and how all this stuff happens. So they do this.
Real?
Yeah, it's real. So they do this thing on the show, actually, which I think is hilarious and very innovative. So, you have guys on one floor, girls on another floor. So it's the biggest, whatever, county jail that has, both male and female inmates. Well, they have invented this thing called toilet talk. So, when you think toilet talk, you think, just sitting on the john, dropping a douche, your buddy calls, hey, man, not now. Kind of pinch this one off, then I'll call you back. But these people...
You answer the phone when you're on the pod?
Oh, if I'm scrolling through Facebook on accident, if because it does that vibration before it rings thing for a split second. But no, anyways,
What's the etiquette on that?
I don't know. So the toilets in this jail prison, they just go down one. It's all one pipe that they go down. So what these guys do and girls, they empty out the toilet with the water. They use cups to empty out the toilet, and they talk to each other through that. So there's guys and girls in there who are in relationships just off toilet talking. It's almost like the jail Tinder, I guess.
Wow, you just made me want to watch that.
Check it out. And they also go fishing. They send stuff through the toilet.
That does not surprise me.
I don't know how. I never think, oh, hey, man. I want to know who, what the first inventor was. Hey, man, you can talk through the toilet like this. And then how everybody just, found out, oh, yeah, you can do this in prison.
There's so many of those, prison shows and everything that you watch. And I'm just dude, whatever. I don't get it. But
I don't know. I'm a big fan of prison shows.
speaking of which, I was reading a study the other day about how kids today, and I don't remember the age range, but I want to say up to 24. There are people that have never been in a physical
fight
relationship with somebody, but they've had several relationships where they've never met the person and they consider them relationships. They will say they're dating somebody or whatever,
Really?
and they've never met him, but they talk online through WhatsApp and all those apps and everything and do all that stuff, but they've never met in person and they consider themselves in a relationship.
Well, that would probably that's a good segue. You're reading my mind here because I actually saw a story today. Now I got to try to find it again because I had it earlier.
By the way, it was a story on how Netflix is ruining everybody's sex lives because everybody wants to just watch Netflix. and not
They just
have
want
sex.
they really are just Netflix and chilling.
They took it to the extreme.
All right.
And then it parlayed into how younger people today they're not dealing with people face to face. So what you got?
A story I saw actually this morning wanted me to talk about that. Experts say Americans are in the middle of a sex recession. A number of adults are reporting that they didn't have sex for an entire year, reached an all-time high in 2018. So what is causing the sex drought in the United States? Researchers say it's an aging population and higher numbers of unattached people. And they also found more people are depressed. So it is Depression Awareness Month, or
Is that Trump's fault?
probably. I guess we can blame Trump for people not getting laid. You don't have to be attached to have sex, though. I mean, hell, you can just go to a bar,
You find that
roll one out.
You find that kids today are not like that.
They're not. It's because this whole Me Too movement.
No.
Got to be the good guy. You heard that song? Who was that? Who's that song? Chris Jansen. Be the good guy.
Is
Take her home.
Is that why there's all these sex, like why people aren't having sex stories? Because yeah, I read one, like I said, that Netflix one. Is that why? Because it's Mental Health Month or something?
Yes. Like, get out of your funk. Get out of depression. Go get a blow. Go get a BJ. That's you're out of.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that was basically the gist of the article. Was how, and it's the gist of the article was like people that are on these online relationships that are like, and they're committed. Like both of them are committed,
right?
And then like one of them was like they only met, so they were together for like 3 years in a serious relationship. Only them. They talked every day, did everything, and they only met after they broke up because they happened to be in the same city together. And they're like, "Hey, let's meet." And they met for like 20 minutes and was like, "Yeah, okay, cool." And then they left again.
What? That's so weird.
Yeah,
that's weird.
But I mean, you get it. I mean, God, and can you imagine how perfect a relationship would be if you never had to see them?
If you never had to talk to them? I mean, I don't know.
Live with them and like have to feel the pressure to go out with them.
I mean, physicality isn't everything, but it's a big part for me.
And people are listening to this right now that are going to be like, what the hell is Steve talking about? So I'm going to shut up now.
So, sports. Let's get some sports. We got sports?
Yeah, I got... Steve just got in trouble.
Ezekiel Elliott, did you see him this weekend? He was in the news.
The arresting one or the fact that after he got arrested, the Cowboys are now talking to him about a contract extension?
Well, either one, I guess. We get the way on that one. Well, he didn't get arrested. Come on now. He just got told. Hey,
he got handcuffed and told
he got handcuffed and told to leave the prison because he's a big black guy. So, of course, you're going to handcuff him. No, but did you see?
No, in those concert environments, you always. It's a security.
I mean, I would arrest his ass anyway. He's wearing a Lakers LeBron jersey. God, that's blasphemy, right?
It wasn't even the good one. It wasn't even the good Lakers one.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, everybody.
Wear a Magic jersey. Maybe you can get by it.
No, but I mean, it wasn't even the good Lakers jersey.
Oh,
it was like the ugly one.
Yeah, it was like the ugly yellow one. But no, did you see this picture of the two Giants quarterbacks?
Yeah, how Manning's cloned?
Yes, Manning's clone. Like, the Giants have found their other dumb-faced quarterback. I don't get it.
I didn't see who was it.
It's their new quarterback that they drafted. I can't even think of the kid's name right now for some reason.
They drafted him like third?
Yeah, the sixth.
So, yeah, but no, I just saw the headline and I laughed and then I moved on with my day because, making fun of Eli is a thing. But, yeah, I did see that. And they looked identical.
Yeah.
They had that dumb Eli look on their face.
The dumb Eli look, it's apparently just a Giants quarterback thing. To have that stupid look on your face at all times.
The system is so confusing. Right. What about across town? Adam Gase gets rid of his GM, finally wins the power struggle, gets rid of the GM, and then starts making all these freaking moves, like releasing people. Like everything.
I told you he was going to use it up.
He's just the intern. I responded to somebody who put something on there, and they actually responded back. We had a lengthy conversation about it. Some New York beat writer, but I was like, this guy better start winning. Like, he's got a losing record in the NFL, and he's got
Daniel Jones, by the way. That's the kid's name. Right, yeah. I was thinking like John Wood for some reason. I don't know why. I know he was the sixth pick of the draft, but yeah.
As a lifelong Giants fan from my youth for multiple reasons, Lawrence Taylor. Even I am like, man, I don't know what the Giants are doing. I'm not even going to follow that hot trash of garbage.
Nobody knows.
But yeah, so Adam Gates, losing record. Everybody blames the Dolphins for why he has a losing record, but man, why is that guy getting so much power and stuff? This is why the Jets are an awful. Just when you think they turn the corner and start signing people to be successful and at least do good things, man, they always fall flat on their face again. So, did you see? More importantly, this is the news that caught my eye. This guy is beloved in Buffalo, still.
OJ?
Loved beyond belief, yes.
Oh, was it OJ? Really?
Yep. Oh. The Bills are finally letting somebody wear OJ's number, 32.
What?
Yes.
Wow. Who?
Seniorize Perry?
Seniorize?
Senorise Perry. Maybe they gave it to him just because they know he's going to get cut.
It'd be like 32.2.
But like, here's the question. I get why you would do that, but why would you do it 2019 and not
1996.
yeah. Sorry. Yeah, not years ago when stuff went down. Even if not after 96, even the second incident where he actually went to jail and everything, right? Yeah, first time in 4 decades. And it's the quietly did it too. You know, but it's I mean, and this is what OJ says, whatever they do is fine with me, unquote.
Is he still in jail? He's out now, right?
Yeah. He goes, that's how I feel. When I played there, I tried to honor the team. Since I left, I always try to honor the Bills. And to be honest, it's not something I think about. There's too much else going on in life, unquote.
There's a lot of stuff going on in his life, right?
Like trying to find the killers still.
Yeah, he's still out there looking somewhere. We're having that
And
guy.
this is what Perry says. This is my favorite part. Quote, on one hand, wearing the number of a Hall of Famer creates a high expectation. I thought it was retired, and then I was told it was available. Boom, I took it, unquote. So then I have multiple questions on this, you know, from that statement is, was it actually retired or was it just you don't get 32?
I think.
Or was it's retired?
Wasn't there a
but we're bringing it
story
out?
that like came out last year or a few years ago? Like the Bills were like, you know what? We're going to distance ourselves from OJ, so we're like going to take
Well, it's
all
new owners
OJ
and
stuff
everything,
down,
so-
right? Like,
Yeah, well, it's got those new owners and everything.
I
so-
thought it was retired at one point, or like you said,
It
it,
had
could
to
have been
have
one
been.
of those things like you don't take this number.
OJ had to be retired in Buffalo, right?
Like,
32?
yeah.
Like, there's no reason it wouldn't be up until...
Because I felt like there was like, I want to say there was a story that came out where like they took a lot of
Yeah,
stuff
well,
like down and stuff like that.
I mean, of all places, only place I saw this story anywhere was the MMQB from SI. Other than that, nobody else has covered it.
Seniorized Perry. That's a weird name, right?
I know, right? He played in Miami last couple of years. It's probably why we haven't heard from him. Yeah, so but you know, first of all, Sports Illustrated's awful. I've always hated them. So they don't give you any backstory. So yeah, they should have that in there that it was retired and they unretired it last year. They have none of that on here.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't then. So I don't know. Like, yeah, maybe I'm high. I don't know.
But I think that's more egregious is not retiring OJ's number back in the 80s and 90s.
Oh, hang on,
right?
hang on. Here's a little story here from 2016 from PFT. This is
Football
when
talk, huh?
Yes, this is when the Bills says the headline: Bills plan to retire Thurman Thomas's number, not O.J. Simpson. So apparently, it was never retired. So the number 34 is retired, but not the number 32. And I guess, you know, I figure when his career end. Because I mean, usually wait a few years before you retire a number,
He
right?
hasn't played in 40 years, man.
Yeah, like when was his last game?
Okay, I don't know the answer to that, but I'm willing to say early 80s, if not late 70s.
Really?
That's my point.
Not that far. That's
O.J.
the first
Simpson?
time. Yeah, first time in 42 years. So when all
O.J.
that
Simpson
stuff
has been...
happened.
I never saw him play, and
The juice.
I was born in 77. If I saw him play, it was end of his career someplace.
I just think of usually when I judge stuff like that, it's based off the TV presentation. When I see the highlights, it's like, oh, that was like 95 or
What's more, which brings up my whole thing of what's more egregious, the fact that his number was never retired by, he was the greatest player of all time. Name a better player than O.J. Simpson. I mean, you could argue Thurman Thomas later on in years, but even then, in folklore, when you think of Buffalo Bills running backs, you think of O.J. Simpson before you think of Thurman Thomas. Maybe Jim Kelly, but a lot of that has to do with his recent battles more than his other stuff, you know. Would be the all-time best player. But yeah, it's what's more egregious, the fact they never retired it or the fact that but I get why you take it out of retirement and give it to somebody, you know. I totally get that.
crazy.
Right?
Oh, so millennials.
Weird.
We hate millennials, right? You like make fun of millennials. I am a millennial, but
Everyone makes fun of
I feel like people don't know the millennial route. We talked about last week though on that for that millennial car that they did in NASCAR, where
but I
like
get-
some of the words like we don't know those. Like I don't know those words,
But that's why-
But like your kids know those words.
But that's why they get a bad rap is because, and it's not the older millennials, like the 33-year-olds or whatever it is. The age groups cuts off at what, 34 or something? It's not the
I think right
older
now
ones.
it's 39 to
Yeah, it's 38 or something.
24 or something like that. Yeah.
It's like the older ones aren't the problem. It's the younger ones where they don't want to work and
Right.
they get that stiff motif and they live in their parents' house till they're 80.
But we all just get bunched up together, whatever. So I'm blaming millennials for this, probably. I mean, it's probably something a little bit better and deeper. But NFL has asked teams to stop the Oklahoma drill. I know you're a big football guy. What are your thoughts?
I thought the Oklahoma drill went away years ago. More importantly, the Bull in the Ring one, where you put everybody goes in a circle and you got the guy in the middle and then you go. But I mean, it's easy to go to say that this is the worstification of America and why football is going downhill. It's easy to go that route.
I'm taking that route. That's the route I'm taking.
Except for the fact that I have a hard time saying that when this came about because they did a big whatever meeting or whatever, and like lots of current linemen and people that did those drills were like, we need to knock this off.
Did concussion.
People are getting hurt and stuff like that. So if the players agree to it and it came from the players, who am I to say otherwise? I mean, I'm not in there.
Well, not every team does it. For those of you that don't know what the Oklahoma drill is, you ever partake in the Oklahoma drill back in your day?
Dude, I'm sure I did. We also did pink bellies, which are outlawed now, and we made fun of gay people.
Yeah.
That was what we did back in the 80s.
True. Everybody was a homo, right? Like, you homo. Your buddy said something, fag. Can I say that?
Not that it's right, but I mean,
it was different times, people. All right, different times. We were young, but yeah. So Oklahoma drill pits defender against a blocker who is trying to make room for a ball carrier. Teammates, coaches usually surround the drill area to create the battle type atmosphere, like you're talking about. Everybody gets in the circle, like yeah, go, go.
But I mean, it has a purpose because that happens every play of every game, regardless if it's a pass or a run.
In 2015, greatest coach of all time, New England Patriots coach Bill Belichick, said that the drill answers the essential questions in football, like who is the man, who's tough, who's going to hit somebody. And those are the questions you need to answer in football. So I think it could be a little wussification.
There was,
but it is. Studies do show that concussions have dropped since people have stopped doing it. So.
Well, that's the issue is they're just cutting down how many times you hit like that,
right.
which can't be a bad thing. However, injuries continue to happen here in NFL football, and stunningly rates. We're seeing ACL tears. I mean, Reuben Foster shows up to OTAs first day, linebacker for the Redskins, blows out his ACL, is out for the season. And you can't tell me that all these injuries like this are because they're not preparing their bodies properly, because they're not hitting like they used to. Their bodies aren't prepared to get hit like that. Yeah, they're in shape, but they're not in football shape. Like we talked about this in another podcast when, Dennis Giles got in that huge accident and tore his aorta off or whatever. And one of the things they said that saved him was because he was a quarterback and got hit like that, worked out all the time, and his muscles and his body was just accustomed to that type of abuse. And you can't tell me, like if I walked out on a football field right now, I would pretty much die with one hit, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because my body is not even close.
I was reading a story. It was about a wrestler. He was talking, people were like, oh, yeah, your time off. He's like, no, it was Kurt Angle. He was like, yeah, when I came back and did, X amount of matches for WWE, because he signed like a little 2-year, 3-year deal with them recently that just ended. And he was all like, my body stiffened up when I wasn't in the ring. He's like, but when I was in the ring, even at my age, taking bumps and everything, like my body was loose. And, that's what I was used to, right? It's a good thing for your body to go in there and take bumps. He's like, a lot of people don't realize that. They're like, oh, look, he looks fresh. He's like, no, he's like, you'll look fresh for a few minutes, but then you'll just get super stiff on like your bumps and everything. So he was saying like how the hits are good for him and all the bumps that they take. So,
well, yeah, I mean, you got to accustom your body to that stuff. I mean, even something as simple as basketball, there's a reason professional basketball players work out every month of the year, is because you don't just show up, day of training camp and all of a sudden you're able to go and everything. Like you got to be in that type of shape and your body's got to be accustomed to it. So, I mean, it's definitely affecting the injury side, which I think eventually what it's going to do is it's going to lead to expanded rosters where we're going to see like 80-man teams coming up. And that's kind of why they need like the AAF and possibly the XFL to be a feeder league to them, is because they're going to need those players. Because, I mean, when a guy shows up and does standard random drills, a guy that's been in the league, how long has Reuben Foster been in the league? I mean,
8 years?
9 years?
No, it hasn't been that long.
Hasn't been that long?
No.
But I mean, he looked in shape and everything. He had those long socks on, which I can't stand when football players wear. And they got to work out and they got to go outside and they wear shorts. They have to wear the long socks all the way up. They look like stockings. But I mean, first day of OTAs and boom, all-pro linebacker. I think he's an all-pro. Blows out his knee, ACL, gone for the season. and we won't even remember who Stephen A. Smith will sometime in like.
You definitely don't remember who Reuben Foster is. He was drafted in 2017.
Oh, was he?
Definitely hasn't been 8 or 9 years.
Was he was the guy.
He was the guy the Niners drafted like super quick, and then he like got
in trouble, right?
Yeah,
I thought he's been in the league for like a long time, and that's why.
No, it's just been a long story of stuff.
Yeah, you hear about him all the time and everything. So yeah. But I wasn't gonna bring up all his law stuff and everything, because then people are gonna be like, "Well, good, NFL won't get rid of him." So
I'm glad he got hurt. Yeah, that's
nature does.
That's karma right there, mother effer.
Yeah. Nature does. Mm-hmm.
Baseball story. Pitcher skipping the MLB draft for Japan. 19-year-old pitcher Carter Stewart.
I was say, is he Japanese?
No, he's American. Carter Stewart. He's in agreement with the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks, number one team in all Japan, Japanese Pacific League, on a 6-year contract worth more than...
I want that hat.
The SoftBank Hawks hat?
The Bangkok hat.
It's SoftBank, actually, is not a bank. It's a cell phone company out there. I had my cell service was SoftBank.
I don't care about that.
When I was
just
out there.
want the
SoftBank Hawks?
The Bangkok.
I was a ham fighter guy when I was out there, sporting the Nippon Ham Fighters.
The problem is all their stuff is in Japanese. And you don't know what it is.
That was my hometown team.
So anyway.
But no, it's a 6-year contract worth $7 million. Groundbreaking deal that could have long-term ramifications for Major League Baseball's amateur and professional sides. Stewart was chosen by the Braves with the 8th pick in the 2018 draft out of a Florida high school, but did not sign after they reduced the signing bonus offered due to an alleged injury. He was expected to be chosen early in the 2nd round of this year's draft, but by the signing, which has won 4 of the past 5 Japan series. Told you, they were good. Stewart guaranteed himself significantly more money than he would have made with any major league organization and could theoretically join a major league roster at 25 as a free agent. So instead of going through the arbitration, he looked at it as, do I want to pote around in the minors for X amount of years?
It goes straight to the minors. So.
Or, and not make this and, get called up and, maybe make this 1 year, maybe make that 1 year. Or do I want to just go here, get this contract out of the way, get my guaranteed money, and then come back and, at 25, if I'm pitching lights out. I mean, if you can pitch in Japan, it's pretty good. I mean, we've seen over here, Darvish, Ohtani,
Well, I mean, it's
all these guys that come from Japan, but they're usually Japanese guys. So here you have an American at 19 going over. If he can pitch there and prove himself, there's going to be a lot of good stuff here in a few years.
You read those stories about those old time. Wasn't Ricky Henderson one of them? Somebody like an old time guy was like fading in the major leagues here and wasn't getting the money he wanted. So he was like, I'm going to go to Japan. That'll be easier. And he went there and it was harder.
I think you're talking about Mr. Baseball.
That was a movie. I knew you were going to go there. I wasn't talking about that. But no, I mean, it's no different than the major leagues. I mean, those guys can come over here and, like you said, play right away in the majors here and things like that. So, I mean, but heck, if you can make more money, I mean, that's where Major League Baseball, but he's not going to sign as the 8th pick. He won't sign for $8 million a year. He'd have to go to the minor leagues, but he wouldn't sign for at least $8 million a year because he gets that money. Like, there are guys in the minor leagues making, Yasmani Tomas making, $25 million a year.
Hey, well, Yasmani has earned it. Did you see he had 4 home runs the other day?
I know. He needs to be.
Call him up.
That's the debate because the Diamondbacks bats are quiet and everybody's like, get him up here. But if you look at Reno's stats, everybody in Reno hits like that. So, I mean, they don't hit 4 home runs every game, but Reno, that league is not known for lack of offense, So,
call them all up.
But yeah, I mean, that's what I don't know what an 8th draft pick makes, but that's the one thing you're right on is he doesn't have to go to the minor because he would have to go minor leagues. He's not going to just come up and start pitching right around the minor. But yeah, I mean, who wants to ride around? That was always my problem with baseball, right? It's like, why do I work so hard, make a couple $100,000 and have to drive around on a bus like Bull Durham the rest of my life, and then maybe get the call up someday. Like, no, thank you.
And that's always been like the big beef. So they're saying this could probably change how, MLB does this. So, I mean,
but they said that about
the kid's
basketball.
agent is Scott Boras. This is the first time Scott Boras has ever dealt a prospect to Japan. Like, he's never, like, of all the Scott Boras things you can do, like, he's never done this. So, I mean, I think he wanted to, like, do this.
But that tells me that's a money thing because Scott Boras is all about, I mean, he will fight and hold out for a penny more.
Yeah.
So that tells me that first round, 8th round draft pick isn't making $8 million a year. So, right off the bat. So that's what that tells me right off the bat.
Oh yeah, they're not making that much.
Yeah. No, I mean they said that about college basketball too. Those kids that couldn't go to college basketball out of high school because their grades were awful or whatever. So they went to Europe and they said, "Oh, this is the future of it." And nobody does it anymore. You know, a couple guys did and failed, and so nobody does it anymore, type of a thing. So it'll be interesting to see. But there's nothing wrong with, if you want to play baseball, going to Japan, making your $8 million for, like you said. How old is he? 19?
19 years old. So 25, he'll be back here.
Is that his contract length, or is that just their
6
rule?
years, 7 million.
I can't believe he signed a 6-year deal.
Well, your arbitration years usually with MLB
I know, but
are, it's usually a 6-year deal.
I don't know what the formats are in Japan.
I don't know Japan, yeah, but
But you could get a 3-year deal and pitch against basically almost major league talent, and look good and dominate on a 3-year deal. Then come back to the States. I mean, if you go over there and dominate for 3 years, you're going to be a 4th or 5th starter right out the bat.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how.
But, it goes back to my whole mock draft thing with baseball is, how many of the guys that actually get drafted actually make
exactly. And that's the thing, like with baseball. I mean, it's so funny when you'll be like, obviously like Mike Trout, Bryce Harper, these guys who are, first round
talent,
top 5 picks,
generation,
and then you have the one guy that comes in and they're getting struck out by a dude who was drafted in the 30th round with the 25th pick. It's like, what? And that guy is going on to win Cy Youngs.
Yeah,
that's what's crazy about.
Same thing with the NFL. How many undrafted? The league is like 53% of undrafted free agents, instead of drafted guys. So, but I knew a guy in high school. He went to a rival high school of mine that was drafted out of high school, decided not to go to college, and went and played in the minors. He signed like a $200,000 signing bonus, and then he made however much, I don't remember now. I mean, this was 95, 96. And he went and he was drafted in the first 2 rounds, I believe. I mean, he was way up there. Like, he was high up there. Did all that and everything. Guy never sniffed the pros. I mean, it was single A for a season, double A for a season, triple A, nothing. Went back down to double A and then just left, And it was just like, that's what 99% of those guys do. So I don't blame him, man. Go get the money in Japan. And if it doesn't work out, you can always come back here. And if you still want to play at 26, you go to get a minor league deal and go somewhere and prove your worth there.
So I found it.
Nice.
Your the 2018 draft bonus pool. So what it works, it's a bonus pool. So teams have a allotted amount. Yeah. So the Braves, who drafted him last year, they had $8 million in bonus pool money, but that's for all their draft picks. So for the first round, they only had a little bit under $5 million they could give them, and then in the second round they had $1.5 million.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot it was a pool in baseball.
So it's the pool. So,
well, and that's because Major League Baseball teams are paying these guys millions of dollars to basically be on a double A, triple A team for however long. Vlad Jr. made a major league contract in the minor leagues.
Right.
And that was a strategic thing for them to do. But
that's the whole international thing too. The international slot money, like if you find that one international guy who you like, because that's how that stuff works out with him.
Yeah.
Is that's all coming from the international money that you get. So people will trade for that slot money and stuff like that. I know the John Daniels with the Rangers, he's big into, give me slot money. I want international money. Give me that. I'll trade you this guy. Give me some slot money. Like, he is harboring all this international slot money, just expecting. I can't wait for all these international talents to just kind of come out of the woodworks, but they're signing like 16-year-olds and stuff like that to these mega million deals. It's just like insane. And, sometimes you'll see them in the pros, sometimes you won't. So
odds are you do not.
That's the way baseball go, I guess they say.
What if I told you, like in the NFL, I'll just say, what if I told you, like the Browns halfway through the season were last place in their division?
More than happen.
Yeah, but by the end of the season, they were there and they made it all the way to the Super Bowl. Like, improbable, right?
Improbable.
What if,
beating the odds?
Who's a horrible team in baseball right now? I'm drawing a blank.
What?
Who's a horrible, the Orioles. So the Orioles coming up to, June, July, they're way out of first place. They end up making a run and they go and they make it all the way to the World Series this year.
I mean, just like Major League.
Improbable, right?
Start
same thing with basketball.
ripping off
You know,
parts of.
you know, you got a team that halfway through the season of basketball suck. They're way out of everything. They go on this huge run. They make it. They make the playoffs. They make it to the finals. Improbable, right? Mm-hmm. Your St. Louis Blues just did it.
They did it.
They were in last place in January, last place in the whole league in January, and they just clinched to go to the NHL finals.
I'm glad it was them over the Sharks. Whew.
You know what? I'm glad because I don't care about either team. I especially don't like the Sharks because of the division they're in. But I'm so glad the Sharks got eliminated because they were getting all the BS calls from the refs and everything. And like there was a narrative that had formed that the Sharks are trying to get there. So I'm so glad that narrative is gone now. But I mean, the Sharks just got injured beyond belief. Like they were literally like fielding guys that had no business being on an NHL roster this time of year, trying to get guys in there and everything. So yeah. So Boston versus St. Louis.
You excited?
I wouldn't say excitement. I was thinking about it earlier, actually, and I was like, this is one of the first years where I'm not, you know, hugely excited for the NFL. But then I remembered last year the Knights were in it. You know, we were going, so we are excited about it. The year before it was somebody else I like. And I'm a Boston guy. I have a Boston jersey I'm probably going to break out. I'd like to see Boston do it. Sweater. Sorry. Yeah, sweater.
Come on.
I said sweater the other day, and somebody stared at me like I was nuts.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
Jerks.
And they claim to be a huge hockey fan, too.
What the heck? They don't know the rules of the road.
I know. I just stared at him and kicked him in the nuts and walked off, I guess. But, yeah, I don't know if excitement's the word. I'm going to watch it because it's going to be compelling, but I don't know. St. Louis went on a tear there, but like I said, they went up against a Sharks team that was crippled basically at the end there. So I don't know. Boston was dominating throughout the playoffs. So my initial thought is Boston's running away with this. I think I said that last week.
Yeah. But they have been waiting for a while. So, you know, we like we talked earlier. I mean, taking the hits and the bumps and stuff like that. I mean, this could work out. You know, the first game or two could work out in the Blues' favor. Is it starting in Boston, I assume?
I believe so.
I don't know if they've haven't seen the schedule.
They just announced.
They just announced the schedule. Yeah. So yeah, they start off in Boston. So if you can go in there, you know, steal a game on the road, that'd be good.
Yeah, they just announced it. God, I mean, it was 4 or 5 days ago now. It was end of last week, but they did just announce it. Yeah, but yeah, it starts Monday, right?
Yep, Monday, Memorial Day.
The thing, okay, so here's the thing that drives me nuts, right? 5 p.m. Eastern. Which is what, 2 p.m. our time?
No, it's 5 p.m. our time.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
8 Eastern.
Okay, so it's freaking Memorial Day. It started earlier.
Yeah, I know, right? You can start early.
Put it on NBC. What else is on Memorial Day?
Maybe everybody up at the lake on that day. So
you don't even have...
Everybody gets home, they settle
in. Everybody's barbecuing? Everybody goes to the lake.
Well, I don't know. Lake, barbecues, whatever, family stuff.
We'll have to start it at noon.
Furniture
started at 2 or 3.
Well, you got baseball to fill your time during the day.
Really? You think people like me are going to be like, baseball or NHL finals? Baseball or NHL
Well, no,
finals?
But I'm just saying baseball up until the game, you can watch baseball up until that point.
I'm just saying, take advantage of the holiday is what I'm getting at.
Right. Well, the big lead-in is what they're having on Sunday with Indy 500.
Except for
they'll be able to talk
on Monday.
Well, yeah, but they'll be able to talk about it and pimp it out, hype it up for the 5 p.m. and stuff like that. So
well, that's the thing. I mean, what else is on Monday? I mean, baseball, but maybe that's why they're doing it so late. It's because I know baseball traditionally on Memorial Day is a big thing.
Last year we watched down at the bar 5 p.m. And that was brutal because we drove up there for that Wednesday game. And it was like, oh crap, we gotta get there for the game. We left at like 9 o'clock our time. We got down there. It was like, oh, the game starts in like 3 hours, but it's like 2 o'clock.
Yeah,
it was like so weird.
Yeah, it was weird how full it was at 2 o'clock.
And I remember we walked out during the second intermission. It was still daylight.
Yeah.
Like we left the game and like the sun's going down finally. We're like, this is weird. It's really early still. What to do with our life?
Yeah, we went to dinner. Yeah, we were at dinner by like 6 or 7, weren't we? No,
yeah, it was like 7:38. Yeah, we were at dinner. 10:30, I was done. So
well, that was another reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean it's definitely weird. But I mean, it's in St. Louis, which is 2 hours ahead of us. So that's the thing. Being East and Central, they got to do that. Because my tie-in on that timing thing is, so I'm hoping Boston wins. Although St. Louis has been in a long drought. I mean, St.
I
Louis,
would like to see St. Louis win.
St. Louis Hockey Town has.
They used to
struggled.
get their asses kicked like every year in the playoffs. I always remember because the
Yeah.
Stars always took them out, like back in the 90s and stuff.
Yeah, they had great teams that never went anywhere.
Yeah. So I'm actually kind of pulling for St. Louis here.
I know how much you hate Boston and everything, but Bruins is the one Boston team that I actually.
I just hate the fans.
So,
They never.
but
They
Bruins,
don't know suffering like we do
Bruin-
in other towns.
But the Bruins are just a team that I've just always liked for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, and hockey's a little bit different though than other sports too.
Yeah, well, you're gonna have the same fans jump on that bandwagon.
Right.
So, an NBA commissioner, speaking of times, has come out and said he is going to go in the offseason and ask NBA West Coast teams to start their games earlier.
How early?
He didn't say that.
Because the ratings drought.
Yeah, because they're 48% down. And the complaint from the East Coast media and
It is because
everybody-
LeBron is not there anymore.
Because LeBron's on the East. So they all want to watch the game, but when they start at 9 p.m. their time, or 10 p.m. their time for a 7 p.m. game, that's too late, and they have to go to bed because they have to work the next day and everything.
Have they not seen traffic in LA?
Forget about L.A., Phoenix.
I mean, yeah, even TV. Like we went to a TV game this year, and it didn't start till 8:30 our time.
Yeah, and that was because we were not on Pacific, we were on Central, so it was 8:30. Yeah, and that was late for us.
Yeah.
We're complaining about that for us. But for a regular, playoffs are one thing because people are going to take time off. They're going to leave work early.
Right. You
But
make a day out of it. Like if you have tickets to game 1 or game 2 of a playoff series in your hometown,
But
don't go to work that day. Like no matter what it is.
But
I hate when people.
Oh, well, you can go to work. You just leave early. That's what I used to do. But I mean, you're not going to leave work early to go to a Tuesday game, in downtown Phoenix, a 45-minute drive for us. You're not going to leave work early for a random Tuesday game against the Kings,
Right.
But
But if you have a playoff game ticket, like
that playoffs are different.
like, hey boss, I got tickets on
that's just
Tuesday.
there.
I'm not going to be in.
But that's just I'm talking about. You're talking about Phoenix. Then you got Clippers. You got Lakers. Right.
You got the Kings.
Sacramento's awful. Traffic is awful. Golden State's moving back into the Bay. Like they're moving from Oakland into San Francisco. That's going to be god awful to get to. Portland, I don't know. I always envision Portland as this little dinky town.
Yeah, so do I.
Like everybody rides their bikes to the game or something. I don't know. Right.
Hipsters.
So, I mean, moving those games from 7 to 6, I guess the time on the story I'm reading right now says he wants to move them to 6 p.m. I mean, you get off work at 5.
You're in traffic for at least an hour and a half.
You're not getting to a game. There's no way unless
Depending
you're
on where
right
you live,
there.
yeah.
But there's 2 points on this. Is one, we suffer out in the West because we don't get to watch the beginning of games a lot of times because they start at 4:30 and we're at work.
Right.
Our time, because it's 7 p.m. Eastern. So we don't get to watch the beginning of games on the East Coast. It's not our fault. East Coast NBA basketball sucked this year. Nobody wanted to watch it. Everybody wanted to watch West Coast games. So we don't get to watch the beginning of it. Nobody cares about that. Start the East Coast games later for us. Oh, no, that's not a talk. It's because the NBA has to count out Eastern bias is what I'm getting at here.
Oh, yeah.
You hear all the time out here in the West.
The New York media. That's what you got to go with.
If your job is to cover the NBA, suck it up, Buttercup. I don't care that you have to be up at 4 a.m. Stay up and watch the freaking game if you have. That's your job.
Or if your job's to cover the NBA, sleep in and stay up later, right?
Take a nap. Well, they have to work all day too. They have to do stuff at the office, Jason. That's the argument, or whatever. But I mean, I just think that's a horrible. Well, one, it's a reaction to the ratings being so down because remember last year the talk was NFL ratings are so low and NBA ratings are so high because they're intriguing. I think the commissioner's missing the bigger point here with NBA basketball is. So I'm driving around this morning. We had a doctor's appointment we had to go to, and everything. And I'm driving around listening to Dan Patrick. They weren't even talking about the finals coming up. They weren't even talking about the Raptors game last night. Raptors Milwaukee game last night. I don't even know who won that game. They weren't talking about any of that. You know what they were talking about? Free agency.
Oh, yeah.
That's the bigger freaking problem, NBA, is you have Eastern Conference Finals going on. It's best of 3 now, so I don't know who won, but I know it's best of 3 now because it must be tied.
Yeah, Raptors probably won that then.
But nobody's talking about that game today. Everybody's talking about potential free agents coming up and everything. That's your problem, NBA. That's your ratings drop right there.
120 to 102, Raptors. Destroyed them.
So enough with this. It's too late for NBA. You know, I think the article said like, oh, we can chart it, and East Coast people turn off their TVs at 11:30 p.m. You know, and it's like, so that's not our problem.
Yeah. I mean, so, growing up in Texas, the Rangers were in the West. And, Mavericks are in the West. So, I had to go, I had to grow up with that. Like, there was, when I was a little kid, I couldn't watch, the West Coast games a lot of times because mom's like, you can't stay up past 9, on your bed, on school night or whatever. So I couldn't stay up and watch.
We did that first game
these games against our division opponents.
Well, the Rangers were playing in Anaheim, and that got over late in Anaheim. It was 10 or 11 Anaheim.
Yeah, that was just a long game. That was like a 4-hour game.
I know, but we were listening to the post game, and the guy was like, "Is anybody even up? Anybody watch the end of this game?"
But no, so I had to live with that. Growing up, I wasn't clamoring for the Rangers to be moved to the Central. Move us to the Central. We need Central time zone. Although,
well, it doesn't matter because you always have to travel anyway.
Right.
But I mean, there's ways to solve that with the NBA, right? Is to do like hockey does, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday games, or Friday, Saturday games, Sunday games. You can do your schedule to where you minimize the weekday games, and then you could do earlier games on the weekends. You can do a 5 or 6 p.m. game in LA, Phoenix, San Francisco
on a Saturday or Sunday.
Sunday. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just found that interesting. But more importantly, before we get out of here, this is my ironic thing today. Today in 1995, what happened?
Ooh, today in 1995. What's today? Today is May.
You're not going to guess. So just
1995. I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
Well, Jason, a brawl breaks out during a game between the Durham Bulls and the Winston-Salem Warthogs. Why is that so memorable? A brawl breaks out against 2 minor league teams.
Because they were filming the Bull Durham? No, that was before, right?
They did it on Strikeout Domestic Violence Night at the ballpark.
Nice.
And the headline in the newspaper that they have is a ball brawl ruins promotion.
Classic.
I love minor league baseball with their promotions.
They do have some weird promotions. I like that.
But that's just fun. Do you think that was planned? I want to know if that's planned or not.
If they went up to each other like, hey,
the players
we're doing this domestic violence thing tonight, it's going to make headlines. What, we get into a fight? Yeah, you're right. Let's get into a fight. Let's do this.
Let's do it now. So,
I like it.
Kyler Murray, his first day of OTAs for the Cardinals, he brought in donuts on the first day of working out with the veterans.
Smart move.
I have many questions on this, though. Does he just bring in glazed donuts? That could affect a relationship there, right? Yeah, he brought in donuts, but what if he brings in those gross, cream-filled ones that nobody likes?
Cream-filled ones? I love those.
I love that too, but a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
What if he just brings in only glazed, and people are like, where's the flavors, man?
He probably just went, well, if you got Krispy Kreme glazed, those are the good ones.
Yeah, but I would be like, where's the flavor,
just went and
man?
got some Krispy Kremes. And
Long Johns, you got Bear Claws in there, which I'm not a fan of, but people love those.
Fridays, Bashas' has that half, get 2 dozens for $5.
Did he leave the pricing sticker on there and they see that he bought yesterday's donuts, to be cheap?
I mean, he probably bought the day's donuts. I don't think he's being cheap.
Maybe bought them the night before, though, when they were
you think
going
he's
out.
Trying to save his 50 cents
in there.
Trying to save the 50 cents on donuts.
I'm just saying that this could seriously backfire. And none of these questions were answered. Those. I guess that's why I'm not a reporter, because those would be my questions.
What is going on here?
What kind of donuts did he bring in? What kind of donuts were they? Were they just glazed, So,
all questions that need to be answered.
My last thing before we get out of here, because this is the thing I was saving on, because I love this. Darren Rovell on Sunday. So they just got done playing Bethpage, the PGA.
Congrats to Brooks Koepka.
Yeah, dominated the tournament, even though he sucked on Sunday.
He sucked on Sunday, but he dominated. He definitely he had him covered there.
Darren Rovell tweets out, Harold Varner III began the day, Sunday, tied for second, in line for $968,000 to finish second. After a plus 11 fourth round, he finished tied for 36th. He will take home $48,200.
Ouch.
Right?
Ouch.
Here's the best part of the story. Yeah, that sucks, right? Is Harold Varner III replies to Darren Rovell, "This is great. I didn't know. Life goes on. Let's get better. Thanks, DR, for a little motivation." So the guy didn't know that he lost $920,000 by having a bad Sunday until Darren Rovell tells him.
I wouldn't think they would know it, right? Like, I don't think like players and stuff would like know.
Well, you wouldn't think
how much money like there is up for grabs. Like when they're in second, they're like, all right, what can I do to win? They're not thinking man, I'm in line to make it 900,000 right now. And then they drop like, how much money do you make? Man, we could have won.
Going into Sunday's round, you're not thinking because you don't know where you're going to end up.
Right.
He may be in second going into that round, but you don't know. Golfers
you're not thinking money.
Golfers move up and down, but isn't that just funny? Like he just responds and he's like, "Oh, didn't know that." Thanks.
Interesting motivation. Thanks.
But anyway,
thanks, DR.
I'm out.
You're out. I got my final thought here.
All right, never mind. I'm here.
Well, my final thought. Josh Hamilton was announced this week going into the Rangers Baseball Hall of Fame.
I thought we were going to get out of this, talking about this.
Oh, did you want to talk about this?
No.
I don't know. Oh, you didn't want to talk about
I
this?
just saw all the polls. Does he deserve it and stuff? Is that where you're going?
Yes, I think he does deserve it. Being a lifetime Rangers fan, baseball fan in general, I think what he did for Texas was great. I mean, obviously, you can throw in all the off-field stuff. I mean,
what did he do for Texas?
The guy likes cocaine. Yeah, I get that stuff. But, I mean, his 5 years that he was in Texas, he was an all-star all 5 years, MVP one of those years. He was the centerpiece of two teams that went to the World Series. So I think, definitely does deserve to be in the Rangers Hall of Fame. From 2008 to 2012, I mean, those were his best years. He did come back in 2015 there for a little bit, but, injuries and caught up with him, all that stuff in personal life. But, I mean, the guy was fighting some demons. It was no bones about it. It's one of those what could have been. I mean, obviously, he was a hell of a talent when he was drafted by the Reds. Could have been so much more had he just, kept the straight and narrow, but he couldn't, and we see that oftentimes. But, I mean, he did for a few years there, and it worked out. Did have some relapses mixed in there as well. But
I don't have a dog in this fight, but just the fact that he lost it all. He was drafted high, lost it all, came back for 5 years, still struggled with it or whatever, but came back and pretty much dominated for 5 years.
Right.
And then faded again. He's not an NBA or an MLB Hall of Famer, but for the Rangers, just that story
just
alone,
like a team Hall of Famer, yeah.
Just that story alone tells me he should be.
Like, he definitely...
And he wasn't mediocre. He was the team.
Yeah, he was the guy, So, he definitely did a lot more things deserving than Nolan Ryan. And they built a statue for him in Texas, so that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah. I mean, Nolan Ryan overall for the overall Major League Baseball.
I mean, overall for Major League Baseball, good stuff.
Can't compare the two.
But what he did, like, for the Rangers, I mean, he was brought in at the end of his career to finish off these records that he was inevitably going to break because, he was still pitching and all that stuff. Like... So
No, I get you, but no, yeah, I mean, I know that was a big controversy because I was following your stuff, I was seeing your stuff and a lot of other people talking about it too, but just the story alone, I mean.
And people were like, he dissed the town when he went out on his way out. And he's like, he didn't diss the town. He said
every player disses the town when
but all he said, like, somebody asked about Texas, like, it's not really a big baseball town. I mean, I wouldn't have gone to LA and said that, but especially the Angels, where you're, the second team in line. But
no, I mean, went to a division rival. It was heated, but time forgives all.
Exactly. And without him in 2015, he did have a couple game winners there. Without him, they wouldn't have came back on that remarkable run when they were down 10 games. No, they went to the World Series 2010, 2011. 2015, they were down by like 10 games.
Oh, that's right. And they came back.
They traded for Cole Hamels in June for 2016.
That's right.
And then he had a couple of walk-off winners and stuff like that, but they got him out of steal where they only had to pay $7 million of a contract that the Angels were paying the most of because they're like, just take him. we don't want this guy anymore.
Was injuries at that point.
Yeah, like he was all hurt and stuff by that point. So yeah, I'm a fan of it. I like it. Congrats, Josh, on your honor.
Is it official or are they still?
Yeah, it's official. Oh, okay. He's going in.
So yeah, why are we arguing about it?
People just want to argue.
I know, Game of Thrones fans.
Game of Thrones fans. Anyways, thanks for listening. Make sure you follow us on social media. At the Main Event Pod on Twitter. Follow the Main Event Podcast on Facebook. Follow me at JasonCarter03 and Steve at
SMAC500.
And that is on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter for both of us. Until next time, God bless you, God bless the troops, and God bless America.